Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to your February reset. So today is your day 5 and it's all about the legs. So we're going to be stretching them out, loosening up the muscles a bit, and this kind of routine is really good for flexibility, especially in the legs. So I think that's everything for today and we'll make a start. So come towards the top of the mat, come to hip distance apart with the feet, and we'll just stand in our Tadasana for a moment. Maybe close the eyes here. Just start finding your breath. And in your Tadasana, really think about pulling that pelvis in. While you're taking these breaths just to center yourself and still the heart rate a little bit. Just think about why you stepped on the mat. Maybe you're taking an intention all the way through this February reset. Or maybe you're choosing a different intention each day. So just take a moment to find that intention and to have a little think about it now. And we're going to start to blink open the eyes. Inhale, reach the arms up, come towards hands above your head and look to the thumbs. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Come down to your standing forward fold, but bend the knees here. And just let the arms hang heavy. So bend as much as you need to, and remember to use blocks or props wherever you need to as well. From here, we're going to grab onto opposite elbows. And here, really think about letting the neck hang. So bring your chin towards the chest and just loosen up those muscles in the neck. And then you can start thinking about your legs. So if you have your knees bent a lot here and you have tight hamstrings, then just keep them where they are and start taking a little sway from side to side. If you feel like you can straighten the legs just a little bit, keeping your tummy onto the tops of the thighs, then just have a little go now. Play with how far you can stretch, how far you can straighten, and wherever you get to, just start to have a little sway from side to side. Start just taking breaths as you're moving. And then we'll gradually start to release the hands back down to the mat or to your blocks. Start to lift slightly out of the stretch, of the fold. And we're going to pedal out the legs. So straightening into one leg, bending into the other. And just keep going through this pedaling motion. And remember to elevate yourself. If you can't quite reach the mat, just pop your hands on something that's a little bit higher, like some blocks. So we'll take a few more pedals on each side. And then we'll gently start to release. We're going to inhale, come towards our flat back. So hands come up the shins, push the shoulders back and lift the tailbone. Exhale, plant the hands, and we're going to step back towards our tabletop, so our all fours position. From here, have your hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to bring the right leg back, so the right foot is towards the top of the end of the mat, Tuck the toes, and from here we're just going to shift back, push into the right leg, and come forwards. So getting into the calf, and the hamstrings, and also stretching out that ankle, that right ankle. Perfect. So we'll take one more. Hold here, pushing into the leg, really feeling that stretch all the way down from the knee towards, or maybe all the way down from the glute down to the ankle. Keep pushing. And then gradually start to lift out of the stretch. Lift the right foot off of the mat and bring it all the way over the left leg and drop it down onto the left side. Here you want to look towards your foot and feel a stretch from the right hip all the way down to the ankle again. And you'll also feel this in your left hip as well. Start to lift the right foot up and back to the mat. And bring the right foot in between the hands. So we'll start to come up to our low lunge. Lift the arms up, upper body nice and straight and elongated. A 90-degree bend in the right knee. Push the hips down. Keep breathing, pull the ribs in. We'll take an inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to start to lift out of the lunge, straighten the right leg and drop the hands beside the leg. So here we're in our half splits, just flex into the right foot and pull the right hip back, the left hip forwards. Take an inhale, lift out slightly. Exhale, move with the breath and move into the space that you've created. Inhale, start to lift back up. Turn towards the right, so bring both hands outside of that right leg. If that's not too accessible for you, then remember to use blocks or to pop your hand either side and just start to move a little bit over towards the right. Perfect, so we'll gently start to come back towards that forward fold. Take another inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to start to lower ourselves down onto the mat. So our hips are going to come inside of the left foot. Now, if this is not too comfortable for your knee, then just elevate the hips slightly, pop maybe a block underneath the hips just to lift yourselves out a little bit. Otherwise, we'll check in with the left foot. Make sure you can see the whole of the sole of the foot and then straighten your right leg. If this is super intense for you on that left knee, then just stay sitting up tall. If you want to go a little bit further, then start to lower down onto your forearms. So resting down and leaning back onto the arms. And you should feel a nice stretch not only on the foot, on the top of the foot, but especially down across the knee. We'll take a last breath here. And then we'll gently start to lift ourselves back up if you're not already. Lift the hips and pop them onto the heel. And then from here, push back up, frame the front foot and step back towards your downward facing dog. So hands shoulder distance, feet hip distance. Start taking a little pedal of the feet. One leg might feel a little bit different and a little bit looser to the other. So that'll be your left leg. Keep pedaling out the feet, lifting out of the shoulders. And then we'll start to take an inhale. Exhale, drop the knees back down to the mat. So we're coming back towards that tabletop position. We're going to bring the left foot back this time. So tuck the toes on the edge of the mat, the end of the mat. And we'll start to push back into the left leg. Coming forwards and pushing again. And while you're doing this rocking motion, just opening up the left leg this time, really try to think about pulling the ribs in, engaging the core and not dumping down in the spine. So we'll take one more push back and we'll hold here, really pushing into that left leg, really feeling as if you're energizing the left heel down towards the mat. Perfect. Gently start to come out of the stretch. Lift the left foot off of the mat and we'll bring it all the way over the right leg and drop it down to the floor. Start to look towards your left heel, your left foot. Take a breath here, really feeling those hips stretch and lengthen. Lift the foot back off of the mat and then we'll drop it all the way in between the hands. Again, setting up for our low lunge. So we'll start to bend into the front knee, reach the arms up, lengthen in your upper body. Take an inhale here and an exhale, lowering down in the hips even further. Start to lift back out of the lunge a little bit. Take an inhale and then exhale, start to straighten the left leg. Bring your hand to either side of the left leg. Flex into the left foot and think about pulling the left hip back, right hip forwards. Take an inhale here, lift slightly out. And then exhale, moving down into that stretch, that half splits position. Inhale, start to lift back up. And then again, we'll go to the left side of the leg. So outside of that left leg, and we'll stretch all the way along the back of the leg. Quite an intense stretch. Start to make your way back to face the front, and we'll lower our hips down onto the mat. So again, check in with the right leg, the right foot, and make sure you can see the whole sole of the foot. And just come where you need to. So if this is enough for you, then stay here. If you want to pop your hips on a block just to lift out slightly, then go for that. Or you can lower down onto the forearms and stretch even further. So we'll take a last breath here. And then we'll gently start to lift back up. Lift out of the stretch and start to make your way towards the top of the mat, framing the left foot and stepping back towards your downward facing dog. Again, we'll just take a moment to pedal out the legs here. Moving through each ankle, moving through each leg, and they should both feel a little bit looser now. And then we'll find some stillness. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, bring the right foot just a little bit further forwards. So not quite in between the hands, but just in between but behind a little bit. Probably not explaining it very well. Bring your left foot in. So you want both toes to be pointing towards the top of the mat. And then from here, think about pulling the right hip back, left hip forwards. Inhale, come up onto your fingertips. Exhale. Fold down over the leg as much as you can, trying to keep that spine extended and the tailbone lifted out. So remember, probably sound like a broken record, but use blocks if you need to. Start to walk the hands forwards. Lift the left foot off of the mat. And we're going to start to pull the upper body over the right leg. So we're coming to our standing splits, straightening in the right leg and really pulling that left leg, the left foot all the way to the ceiling as much as we can. Take an inhale and then exhale, start to release the foot, release the splits and bring the left foot to the other side of the right foot. So we're kind of in a little bit of a tangle, a little bit of a bind. And push the hips back. So you should feel quite a nice stretch down both of the backs of the legs. And then gently start to untangle yourselves and step back towards your downward dog. From here, we'll take an inhale. And then exhale, bring that left foot forward this time. Maybe bring the right foot forwards even further. And you don't want to be too wide with your stance because you won't be able to pop both heels onto the mat. So come to a little bit of a shortened stance. Pull the left hip back, right hip forwards in our pyramid. In pyramid, we really want to try and have our legs nice and straight and energize them. Take an inhale. And then exhale. Pull down into your pyramid as much as you can. Don't worry if you don't get too far, just as long as you feel the stretch. Inhale, start to lift back out. Walk the hands forwards and we'll come to the splits, the standing splits on the other side. So we'll lift that right leg up. Start to pull your body over the left leg. And keep reaching up with that right foot as much as we can. Take an inhale. And then exhale, bring the right foot to the outside of the left foot. Finding that little tangled leg position on the other side. Push the hips back, really stretching, stretching, stretching. Start to untangle the legs. And then from here, we'll step back towards our downward dog. Find our downward dog for the last time. Before we take an inhale. And then exhale, drop the knees down onto the mat. We're going to swing the legs round, land the hips on the mat, swing the legs round so they're facing the front of the mat this time. So from here, have your legs nice and straight, flex into the feet, sit tall. So we're in our staff pose, our dandasana, which is a good pose for posture, but it's also quite intense for the legs. So from here, bring your hands to your hips, outside of your hips. Think about pushing the tailbone out slightly. Relax the shoulders. From here, we'll inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, reach forward, so extend the spine forwards and then drop the hands either to your shins, your ankles or your feet. Keep flexing into the feet. Inhale, lift out slightly, find some space. Exhale, pull the chest down and then start to release the neck. So don't worry if you struggle with this pose, maybe have a little bend in the knees and just go where you're still extending the spine and having an active stretch. You don't want to round too much in this. Start to walk the hands back up the legs. And we'll come to a comfortable seated position. So cross the ankles and find that comfortable position with the hips nice and firmly on the mat. Keep your hands on your knees just for now, and we'll just come back to our breath. Come back to that intention that you set for yourself for this practice, whatever it was. Bring your hands to heart center. Namaste. So there we go, that was day 5 of your February reset. Thank you so much for coming along, I really appreciate it and I hope you're enjoying it. I'll see you here tomorrow for your day 6, and I will just say please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos, and if you want to keep up to date with what's going to be coming up. I think there's the button on this side that will come up, so just click that and subscribe. Thank you so much and I'll see you tomorrow.